Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I wanted to get my gamer subs ready. So cheers. Also, check this out. Shouldn't shake the camera anymore. I mounted it to the wall. Oh, it's not perfect. I also messed up my computer while I was doing it. So, that's life. What's up, sons? It's Blind Riding with Son of a Tech once again, and welcome to yet another episode of the Crypto Mining Morning Show, your one-stop shop for all things cryptocurrency from the perspective of a cryptocurrency miner. If you guys aren't familiar, I primarily mine with GPUs, but I'm kind of breaking into ASICs. So that's kind of where I'm at this time. Today's show is going to be fun. Oh, what do we got? We are going to be talking about the truckers because we're going to be talking about banks. We're going to be talking about an opinion piece of Bitcoin's value depends on its decentralization, which is going to be important. We're also going to be talking about a fanless Ethereum mining box that was announced, listed on Amazon, and sold out on Amazon already. And then we're going to be talking about Twitter adding Ethereum wallet support to tipping feature. I didn't see any new miner releases today, so we're not going to be doing that. And I'm going to try to train myself to look in a different direction for the camera. Oh, let's go ahead and hop into the ad before we get started. Today's sponsor is BT Miners. Purchasing mining equipment online can be dangerous. With all of the fake storefronts and scams, it can be hard to find a reliable source. That's why when BT Miners reached out for a channel sponsorship, I started by verifying that ordering and delivery went smoothly with a purchase of my own. If you are looking to purchase ASICs hardware from Bitcoin to Dogecoin miners, they are available for purchase on bt-miners.com. BT Miners is a trusted source by both ASICminervalue.com and cryptominer.com. Follow the affiliate link in the description and use promo code FREESHIPPING2021 for free shipping on your order. All right, welcome back, everybody. So first things first, we're going to talk about Twitter adding Ethereum wallet support to their tipping feature. Now, I've been trying to get their tipping feature working for me for a long time. There's a few things with Twitter that are always super annoying. One is getting their monetization thing activated, and the other thing is getting verified. I can't get any of that stuff going. However, it is what it is. Let's go ahead and talk about their tipping feature today. So this is coming from CoinDesk. The social media giant added the ability to send Bitcoin tips in September, but Ethereum addresses are new. And I think this will be big. One of the things that they've added, of course, too, was the NFT profile pictures. And I think this is just part of it, part of the support, right? But Ethereum wallet addresses are now in the mix for Twitter native tipping, the company said Wednesday. The social media giant added Bitcoin tips in September. Users can now add their Ethereum wallets to the product as well. Note, it's only available on mobile. The move follows Twitter's continued exploration of the Ethereum ecosystem. The company debuted non-fungible token NFT verification for paid Twitter Blue subscribers last month. And I guess that's probably why I couldn't do it. However, Ethereum wallet support is available to all users who agree to the company's tipping policy, a Twitter spokesperson told CoinDesk. The spokesperson said the new feature doesn't support Ethereum name service, ENS domain names. Tipping with ETH and ERC20 tokens, including Ethereum-based stablecoins, will be supported, the company confirmed. Quote, "We're continuing to expand ways to get paid on Twitter, which includes more choices for creators and fans who want to use crypto," end quote. Johnny Winston, lead product manager of creator monetization at Twitter, told CoinDesk in a statement. Quote, "We're excited to add the ability for anyone to add their ETH address to tips," end quote. Twitter also said it made its tips feature available in Nigeria, Ghana, and in India. So there you go. I think this one as a whole, what does it mean for, cryptocurrency in general? Well, for miners, as long as Ethereum is proof of work, It hopefully means more transactions, which can translate into, of course, more fees, which can translate into more mining rewards. And that's kind of the upside to it for everybody here. On the flip side, of course, it is going into adoption as a whole. So whether Ethereum moves into proof of stake, etc., it's an adoption thing. I think overall, right, for the markets, price, that sort of stuff, it's going to be, it's going to affect it to a certain extent. Now, of course, we do have markets down a little bit today, so it's not like it affected it that positively. But hopefully what we see as miners is more transactions and more transaction fees on Ethereum, at least while we still get to mine it. And there's another new product to go ahead and try to get your hands on to mine Ethereum. And this one is coming from Tom's Hardware. What we got is a fanless Ethereum mining box. And yeah, they say it looks like a PlayStation 2 and it promises 65 mega hash a second at 30 watts. Environmentally friendly, but not a great investment. Jasminer X4 ETC hash brick via Fanless Tech. Miner arrived on Amazon with a hefty $2,099 price tag. And before you guys ask, no, I didn't get one in time. Would I have? Oh, it'd be a terrible decision, but I would for the channel. You guys know I would because, hey, it is what it is. But however, unlike other ASIC miners that are hard on the ears and the power bill, the Jasminer X4 ETC hash brick features a fanless design and a 30-watt chip. The miner leverages the Jasminer X4 chips from Sunloon technology, which uses 3D chip stacking with through silicon vias. There we go, TSVs. The technology allowed Sunlane to pack the computing and data storage unit onto the same chip. The Jasminer X4 is a large chip that measures 45 by 45 millimeters, boasting a die size of 678 millimeters squared. The chip has 5 gigabytes of memory at its disposal and offers memory bandwidth up to 1 terabytes per second. In terms of mining performance, the Jasmine X4 supposedly delivers up to 65 mega hash a second with a power consumption of around 23 watts for Ethereum miner. That would make it basically the most efficient miner currently available. And I'm wondering if you could get more out of it because 1 terabytes per second is more than an RTX 3090 has, and that gets 120 mega hash a second. That being said, I wonder if they just wanted to advertise the super low wattage here. And I'm curious of when it gets into people's hands, what it ends up looking like, because 23 watts for 65 mega hash is absolute insanity. Of course, Ethereum is slated to go proof of stake at some point in the next 4 months. Maybe it's been delayed multiple times already, but the Jasminer X4 has other options. It supports the popular ET hash and ETC hash algorithms, which opens the doors for a plethora of cryptocurrencies, including Ethereum Classic, Ethereum, Metaverse ETP, Expanse, Pearl, Dubai Coin, Resoc, Ethergem, Elysium, Atheos, Mixed Marvel, Callisto, Mother of All Chains, Ether1, which is ETH-O, and Ethereum X, which is ETX. But Ethereum is currently by far the most profitable option out of all of those. One of the design choices here that you should take into account is the 5 gigabytes of memory. And that's because essentially, even if ETH gets delayed, like indefinitely, right? Which some people think is going to happen. I don't personally think so. It looks like the testnet's going along pretty well. That being said, even if it did get delayed indefinitely, the DAG size here is going to be a problem shortly, right? We're over 4 gigabytes for the DAG size, and they only put 5 gigabytes of memory on this chip. So they're clearly, it seems like, targeting the fact that Ethereum will move proof of stake in this release and basically decreasing the BOM cost of this unit by decreasing the total amount of memory available, I guess in hopes that essentially, Ethereum Classic remains to basically be under 4 gigabytes for the DAG size at this time. It supports the okay, so there we go. The Jasmine X4 ETC hash brick measures 257 by 100 by 200 millimeters and weighs 4.8 kilograms. It's technically portable enough to take it with you on your travels and small enough that you can stack hundreds of them in a room. All the device needs is an Ethernet connection to the internet to do its thing. Aesthetically, the Jasminer X4 ETC hash brick looks like a crossover between a PlayStation 2 and a lunchbox. The company rates the Jasminer X4 ETC hash brick with an approximate power consumption of 30 watts under operating temperatures between 0 to 40 degrees Celsius. It doesn't draw much power, but the modest hash rate and the hash price means it will take a long time for miners to break even. Based on current profitability, the brick can net around $2.85 a day, and you can pick it up on Amazon for, we're going to take that away just in case. I'm not sure what's on there. For $2,099. Let me get you guys the link here, though, so you can go take a look at the Amazon page. Boom. All right, so there we go. And on the Amazon page, let's see what it says. Pretty much all the stuff that we got here. One of the other notes is that it is fanless and the noise level is 50 decibels. So that was an additional note that they had pulled up there. If you're curious about it, you can go ahead and use that affiliate link. Obviously, I can't get any sales off of it because there's none in stock. So the official global distributor for the Jasminer X4 Jingle Mining has the miner up for sale at $14.99, $5.50 off the regular price. Either way, it's not a good time to invest in ASIC miner since the merge when Ethereum transitions from proof of work to proof of stake model is just months away. With Ethereum, it would currently take over 500 days to break even using the discounted price. If the merge goes through, that time might double. Now, obviously, all right, the camera already broke, huh? Cool. Give me a second, guys. Oh, is it really going to be one of those days, huh? Let me see what happened to the power real quick. Of course, it would happen on the day that we have to go early, which we'll talk about here in a second, too. There we go. Oh, it almost went, and then it shut off again. Why is it just shutting off immediately? All right. I think we're back in business, except, yep, all right. Heck yeah. Okay, we are back. So, sorry about the technical difficulties. We did just move like the whole system around. There's some weird stuff going on, I guess, with cabling and so on. I do have some longer cables ordered. Hopefully we'll get this all sorted out. But as far as this goes, they already talk about the issues with it moving proof of stake, etc., and that sort of thing. We talked about at the end of the show yesterday, Ethereum Classic and the potential there. And really what's going to end up having to happen is a whole bunch of price discovery. Last night, Bitsby Trippin did a live stream. I highly recommend going back and watching his live stream, specifically surrounding, of course, the merge and basically GPU mining in 2022. And his thoughts are essentially what we're going to see, of course, is price discovery across all the different GPU mineable algorithms, including Ethereum Classic, etc. And essentially, it'll depend on like what the price would be. For example, for Ethereum Classic, he's saying for it to handle the hash rate moving over, the price discovery needs to hit $300 to $400. The good news is from his perspective, and once again, go watch his video. We'll definitely link it afterwards down in the show notes. But what's going to happen is once Ethereum and the dev team lock in a date, he's saying he expects basically some sort of front running to start happening on, not front running in that terms, but front running or front purchasing, buying of different assets that are GPU mineable to start happening on these different networks. And as GPU miners, we'll just want to pay attention to which ones start getting the big pumps, whether that's Flux or Ethereum Classic and so on. And we'll have to kind of see, of course, where it goes from there. Also, you guys should know Bitsby Trippin's a huge Ravencoin fan because it's the closest to Bitcoin. His problems with Flux, which I agree with, is, of course, the developer fee. And basically, we've seen that with Ethereum. That hasn't worked out so well. Which is kind of an issue. And then, of course, Ethereum Classic, I think we agree as far as that goes on its compatibility, which could be the positive note for there. And that's kind of a sum up of his deal. In relation to the Fanless mining board here that we're talking about, should you be purchasing one for $14.49? Probably not, but also 30 watts for 65 mega hash is insane. That's going to be the best hash to power consumption you can currently get. And that is basically it. So, you know, it is what it is at this point. I'm curious about picking one up. I think they look really cool too. If you take a look here, they even have a little handle and all that. I don't know. I think you could also overclock it too. I mean, with the size of the size of the bandwidth here, 1 terabyte per second. Now, one of the things to note about that is the 120 mega hash a second on the GDDR6X would be different, presumably, than the GDDR6 that would be used in this particular setup. So there you go. I'm going to get a drink. We're going to blow through topics today. We're going to have a short show. I have a meeting at 10 o'clock. So let's get into this opinion piece from CoinDesk. It's Bitcoin's value depends on its decentralization. Why the investment thesis for Bitcoin is built on the network's decentralization. People sometimes ask me for a single reason why I think Bitcoin is an attractive investment. It's simple. Bitcoin is the hardest monetary asset ever created. By hardest, I mean hardest to create more of. It's the monetary asset in which I have the highest confidence that the supply is limited. It's like gold, but better. Now, a lot of people, obviously, if we're talking about issues within, I guess, the world where we have digital restrictions going on, where you have a potential for things like EMPs, etc. Whatever it is, if the world goes really bad, huge natural disasters, all of that, let's be honest, gold would be better because you're going to have a hard asset that you possess physically. That being said, I don't think either of them would really necessarily be worth anything because at that point, it's going to be due to your skill set. So definitely still work on like classic skill sets, whether that be farming, fighting, shooting, whatever, right? Like work on those traditional skill sets if you're really worried about global distress based on like whatever is happening in today's current times. But I just thought I would point that out because it's a little silly. Like we always hear this, it's like gold. I mean, yes, but no, because it is reliant on essentially this whole crazy network of things going on and all this power staying on, the light staying on all the time. It's still reliant on that. While currently the annual rate of both gold supply and Bitcoin supply is roughly 2% of the quantity that has already been mined, Bitcoin's annual rate of production falls by 50% roughly every 4 years until it falls to zero sometime next century, the year 2140 for those that aren't aware. Therefore, based on current supply schedule, Bitcoin's annual rate of issuance will be roughly half of gold's and will continue to fall, making it significantly more scarce than gold. Gold's scarcity and therefore its value is constrained by its high cost of production. Gold is too expensive to manufacture by nuclear fusion, and it's also expensive to mine. In contrast, Bitcoin's supply is constrained by its decentralization, which springs both from its original design and its history. Decentralization is the key. Decentralization isn't a goal unto itself. Instead, decentralization is key because it makes the Bitcoin network maximally resistant to attack from anyone who might seek to change its monetary policy and thereby threaten its inherent scarcity. No other cryptocurrency comes close to Bitcoin's level of decentralization, and it seems unlikely they ever will. So what makes Bitcoin the most decentralized digital asset? Cryptocurrency mining in particular. I don't know what he's going to say here, but I'm just telling you, the fact that it's proof of work is probably the number one factor to it being so decentralized, even with the onboarding of ASICs onto the network. And as we see, which is really exciting, we're having more and more companies create ASIC miners, which means we're going to have more competition within the ASIC mining scene. And hopefully that also leads to basically general access to the public, which is the big argument of GPUs versus ASICs in my humble opinion. The most straightforward way to change an organization is to influence its leader. Bitcoin has no leader. Its founder, Satoshi Nakamoto, has managed to remain pseudonymous for well over a decade. And ever since Satoshi ceased communicating with the Bitcoin community, no individual or group has managed to exercise enough influence to make significant changes to Bitcoin's monetary policy. No other digital asset can make this claim to having a long track record without influential leadership. There is no leader to coerce, no committee to bribe, and no constituency strong enough to change it. And this is why, like, when we talk about Bitcoin maximalism, this is why I always have leaned towards that idea, and why I trade my Ethereum that I mine for Bitcoin. There's these reasons within why Bitcoin works are very distinct and very difficult to repeat. Even Ravencoin has a bunch of people that sort of do influence its monetary policy and the network in general. This is unique in basically any sort of monetary system in any currency, and that's why it has the most potential to change the world, in my opinion. Running a node is as easy as a Raspberry Pi. One of Bitcoin's most important decentralizing factors is the ease with which a user can run a node. Such nodes both relay transactions through the network and also verify the entire transaction history. This allows anyone to verify the entire transaction history of Bitcoin and also make sure that future transactions comply with the rules of the protocol, including the fact that no Bitcoins are double spent and that the overall supply is strictly limited. All this can be done with less than $300 worth of computer gear and a low bandwidth internet connection. For digital asset networks that support higher numbers of transactions or offer greater feature functionality, higher memory and bandwidth requirements result in lower numbers of nodes that tend to be managed by corporate entities instead of individuals who are invested in the network's success. Woo! Is that a direct shot at things like Binance and Solana? Sure feels like it. All right. If advances in computation continue as they have in recent years, we may soon live in a world in which people can run Bitcoin nodes on their smartphones. This could drastically increase Bitcoin's node count, which would further decentralize the network. Bitcoin mining spreads coins. And this is the big one, right? Let's see what they think and say about this. So, Bitcoin's mining process requires expenditures on both equipment and energy. This has caused distribution of Bitcoins from miners to individual holders over the years because miners have been forced to sell significant numbers of coins in order to fund their operations. This system contrasts with proof of stake systems, which tend to reward a small group of founders with free coins at the beginning and then allow them to maintain their stakes over time and avoid selling coins to fund the energy expenditure required for mining. Tangent here, a cool thing about the open network, don't know if it's going to go anywhere. I don't have a ton of confidence in it, but a cool thing of the way they went ahead and took care of emissions for that initial emissions launch was creating contracts and actually utilizing mining to create, of course, the new coins that people have. That's a better way of doing it than a lot of like the airdrop things that were going on with proof of stake, etc. So I just thought I'd point that out because I thought it was interesting, the correlation there. While some publicly traded Bitcoin miners have managed to raise capital in order to accumulate Bitcoins on their balance sheets, this strategy has yet to survive one of Bitcoin's notoriously brutal winters, in which companies reach the end of their funding runways and have to cough up coins in exchange for fiat money. Perhaps this time will be different, but in the meantime, it's probably safe to assume that some miners will eventually have to sell off some of their Bitcoins. Moreover, this distribution of coins from miners to new investors is augmented by the sale of coins by early investors. Just as with the companies like Amazon, early investors sell off their holdings over time as the value of those holdings grow. So it is with Bitcoin. The fact that Bitcoin has already been around for 13 years and reached a total network value approaching 1 trillion suggests that Bitcoins have already spread significantly. As Bitcoin's value increases, large holders will likely diversify out of Bitcoin as new participants build their positions. 13 years of conflict prove Bitcoin's decentralization. When the U.S. Constitution was inked, it was a great idea, but it had yet to be tested in the real world. Centuries later, the governance system detailed in the Constitution has so far proven robust to challenges and attacks. Yeah, it's all good until people stop following it, right? Bitcoin has likewise survived numerous challenges in its 13-year history, accumulating in the block size wars. In this struggle, a group of companies with interests in Bitcoin attempted to change the protocol to allow an increased number of transactions per second. A vocal minority of node operators and developers resisted this change, based partly on the risk that increasing the block size would increase the size of the blockchain and therefore make it more difficult to run a node. Such a change could have reduced the number of nodes in the network, thereby reducing its decentralization. The lesson drawn from this conflict was that Bitcoin would not be changed by an economically powerful group of individuals seeking to impose their will over the objections of the average users on the network. Completely opposite of what's happening with Ethereum, right? And it's super interesting because one of the things that we have to talk about too is like the influence of the nodes and the miners over Bitcoin compared to the influence of the devs over Ethereum. So the oligarchs were forced to bow to the will of a group of vocal plebs, and crucially, this power dynamic proved Bitcoin's decentralization. Bottom line, thanks to its design focused on implementation, lack of identifiable leadership, low barriers to running a node, and proven track record at resistance to co-opting, Bitcoin reigns as the world's most decentralized monetary network. This makes it the monetary asset with the most credible scarcity. In my view, in a world where fiat money appears to be losing its purchasing power at a high rate, these qualities make Bitcoin the most attractive monetary asset to hold and the best long-run risk-adjusted investment opportunity available. I would say land, like property, is probably the one where I would set ahead of Bitcoin for sure. But, you know, I definitely agree with this opinion piece in a lot of areas. I think that mining is more significant than nodes to a certain extent, but nodes definitely need to be available to run on, you know, easily run on cell phones for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, getting a lot of the blockchain onto cell phones is going to be the key to unlocking Web3. We've talked about this before on the channel. And I think that's a big note that we have to take into account. Let's talk about the truckers in Bitcoin. I haven't really touched on this in the past because obviously we have political stuff going on with it. And the thing is like, it's unavoidable at this point, in my humble opinion, that cryptocurrency is going to influence political moves. It's going to have an effect because it is becoming mass adopted, right? And one of the things that's going on, I guess, in the world right now is going to be, of course, the trucker protests in Canada. I was trying to say Ottawa and Canada at the same time. And essentially what we are seeing is the government and the banks essentially using this emergency override stuff to shut down, access to funds for the individuals, the truckers. Now, there is a lot of misinformation about the definition of fascism, in my humble opinion, going around on the internet lately. And there is in no way any connection to fascism if the people are the ones standing up against the state. That's my opinion. By definition, I think it's pretty accurate, so everybody else can pretty much pound sand as far as that goes. And then if you're fighting on the side of the government, then and you're trying to oppress people and restrict their access to freedoms and so on and resources, then that's fascism. So I don't know how we got into upside down world here for definitions, but that's how I see it. And I don't think you're going to change my mind on that. Now, one of the things that is going on, and the reason why this is important to cryptocurrency, is that we are seeing not only the Emergency Act affect the banking system and so on, but we are also seeing corporations, of course, restrict funds. So you saw basically GoFundMe here recently, essentially pull funding. Well, what is the alternative here? And that's using a truly decentralized network to basically fund whatever cause you want that the people are running outside of the government's control. So a peer-to-peer decentralized network with no third-party interference, without the interference of governments or banks, etc. And this becomes extra interesting as yesterday, basically from James Melville here on Twitter, what I saw was essentially we're also having basically bank outages. Now, are these bank outages intentional? I don't know. It doesn't really matter at this point, right? So getting out of the political space here, outages could be from poor infrastructure, high demand, a mix of the both. It could be government influenced, a whole bunch of transaction requests for monitoring of the people's currency. It could be any of those things, but it's clear that whenever things are not going okay, our traditional financial institutions cannot handle the load. And right now, there's been a ton of different reports as of yesterday. Basically, this was last night, of a bunch of banks in Canada essentially experiencing outages. And these are the outages reports. I haven't checked today yet, but it brings up the interesting point that essentially, no matter what, no matter how this cookie crumbles, in my humble opinion, you shouldn't be having an emergency override that allows you to control the people's monetary system. I preach the principles of Bitcoin. This is the time, of course, for cryptocurrency to shine in basically the face of, basically restrictions and these third parties manipulating your financial freedoms. And I'm getting to the point to where, I get it. We're going to piss some people off. They're going to get upset. They're going to say, for whatever reason, they'll join a side and they'll get upset. It doesn't matter. What's right is right. Having the principles of Bitcoin in place, these fundamentals that allow for a peer-to-peer cashless system without the interference of a third party, means that it solves stuff like this. Okay. And it just frustrates me to no end that everything's kind of in this weird upside down world. This is a good thing for Bitcoin, a really bad thing for the people that are trying to, basically function and live under a government that is actively working against them. And Bitcoin solves that. Let's talk about mining profitability for the day. We have FlexPool here up and running. We are down on the amount of ETH. We are down on the amount of US dollar over the day. I'm having a couple farm issues. I'll be getting out there later to go ahead and sort it out, but all the rigs are online. We're just down on hash rate. It's getting a little warmer out. We are getting to the point to where we do need ventilation. The hard part for me is like, frankly, that I don't want to pay for ventilation if I'm moving buildings, and I think the landlord's going to have us move buildings. So it's like, I don't want to spend $3,000 on installing fans and doing all that, because we should be a lot closer to 6 gigahash. I could spread out some of the cards a little bit more. I think I'm going to work on that this weekend, hopefully. It's really hard because, you know, we're also doing the Valentine's Day weekend stuff and then family stuff, and it is what it is, though. So $221 US and Ethereum mined for the day, down from yesterday, I think about $10 to $20. Ton, I took a couple rigs off because obviously they're getting hot. So right now, I believe it was like right around here. Yeah, we went down from like 60 gigahash to like 48 gigahash. What I'm noticing is as it gets warmer outside, it's really, really, really hard to dual mine. It's especially in a farm setting where you have a whole bunch of GPUs lined up next to each other. The heat output is intense. It is very, very difficult to maintain good enough temperatures. So you start basically having card issues. My 3070 rig it does not like it anymore. It was running it fine when it was like 10 degrees cooler outside. Now it's too hot. I had to pull it off the 3070 rigs and just put those back on ETH. This is, there are solutions to it, right? More ventilation, spreading out the rigs more direct CFM on the cards themselves. But I am starting to wonder how much, as far as because of the heat output, if it's worth it. That being said, we are getting 12 ton a day, and that's, resulting in around $30 a day, right? So that takes us from the 220 to the 250. Now, if the whole farm was on there, it'd be a lot better. But I'm not going to sacrifice the longevity of the GPUs when they're heating up this much on that. Some of these are fine. Some of them are not. Like the 1660s are great. They're fine. The light hash rate GPUs, they're fine because they're already getting throttled on the Ethereum side. The 2000 series, like the 2080 Ti's, those are fine. They seem to be good with the dual mining. The 6000 series, not fine. Having issues on my 6000 series rig. 3090s, not fine. I actually need to take them off. Right now they are on there, but as you can see, I think down here, they're only doing all together 1.7 gigahash, when usually a single 3090 solo mining will do like 4.5, 4.4 gigahash a second. So, 9 of them are in there and they're only doing 1.7 gigahash. I might as well just pull them off all the way. They're getting way too hot. So that's kind of where I'm at with the ton mining, dual mining. I think if you have like a single rig in, a climate controlled area, the spacing's good, you got the airflow to do it, dual mining is great. It's a no-brainer. If you're in a farm setting where you're stacking a whole bunch of cards close to each other, it's getting hot. Also, like once we hit summer, I don't see this working at all. Just at all. Like anywhere, I don't see this functioning well without spending too much money on cooling it all down. So it's kind of where I'm at right now as far as my profitability for the farm. Let's talk about profitability for GPUs. We'll start with the RTX 3090 right here and calculate it out. Ethereum 398 a day. Let's go ahead and fix the Zel hash to 110. Calculate that out. 398 a day, Zel hash at 266 a day after power. We are still seeing the nice hash, Zel hash, continue to be higher or pay more than directly mining Flux. That's interesting once again, like we talked about yesterday, because and with more information gathering about like how this is going to play out, whatever starts getting rented a lot on NiceHash after they announce the date, the final cutover date for proof of stake on Ethereum, whatever you see pumping up on the hash rate through NiceHash rentals and through the price is really going to be what you want to look at. So definitely Flux, just from the fact that you can make more renting through NiceHash, is essentially an important factor to take into account here. You don't see that rental happening, you know, necessarily on other algorithms other than Ethereum, but that's pretty much about it. And Ethereum's hard to process out because you don't, yes, this is more than likely Ethereum, but it could potentially be, you know, some rental of other ETC coins or ETH hash coins. So I don't know. There you go. Let's check the 2080 Ti out, calculate it out. We have the Zell hash in number one through, once again, NiceHash at $1.87 a day, which is actually right on par, even with just mining Ethereum directly. If you went to Flux alone, it'd be $1.76 a day. And then let's check our good old Polaris GPUs out. And basically we have Ethereum under $1 a day now at 96 cents a day after power. And Ethereum Classic is still holding steady at about 50% of that at 46 cents a day. Ravencoin below that at 30 cents. So there you go. Mining pool stats. Let's see if we have any crazy dips or dives. Ooh, we do have a dip here. A couple exahash off of Bitcoin. Nothing too shocking though. Let's check Ethereum. Ethereum, we're still right at 1 petahash. No real changes in difficulty. Let's look at Ethereum Classic. We're at 27.61 terahash a second. A lot going on to Ethermine right now. Probably because it's the most profitable. Flux. We are looking at 2 mega solutions a second. You know, it's not really bumping right back up, but we can still see these spikes right on 2 miners solo. Another one happened yesterday. Or is that today? That's today. So all the way through to today, the solo mining rentals are still happening. It must be worth it. Renting solo hash power must be worth it because it has been regularly being done and more hash power being put on, which is interesting. Take a look at Ergo. We're at 14.5 terahash a second. No huge changes there. Let's look at mining pool profits. How much time we got? All right, we're doing good on time. Last 90 days, Flex Pool in first, Mining Pool Hub in second, Crazy Pool in third. Last 60 days, Crazy Pool in first, Flex Pool in second, Mining Pool Hub in third. Last 30 days, Crazy Pool in first, Flex Pool in second, Mining Pool Hub in third. Last 21 days, Flex Pool in first, Mining Pool Hub in second, Ethermine in third. Last 14 days, ZET in first, Flex Pool in second, Mining Pool Hub in third. Last 7 days, ZET in first, Mining Pool Hub in second, Flex Pool in third. Last 3 days, Mining Pool Hub in first, ZET in second, 2 miners in third. And for the last day, we have Crazy Pool in first, ZET in second, and Mining Pool Hub in third. Taking a look at ASIC miner profitability, we're down about $10 a day on the top miner, the KD6. We have KD5s out here in a Silicon A11 as expected. Antminer L7 still in the same spot. Pretty much all of these are still in the same spot. So nothing really to see here over yesterday. And then Antminer S19 is doing basically like $12 a day, which is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Looks like Bitcoin profitability has definitely taken a dive here. So there you go. looking at pricing, miners on sale, that sort of thing. One of the interesting things is going to be, I think this one is new, the S17, which is a 73 terahash at 5650. Now these do have, if I recall, you can flash those to Hive OS, which is nice. Other things on sale, not much. Those are the other Jazz miners here, the 450 megahash a second, the 520, still way too expensive. KD box, we already talked about the decrease in price on that, so I think we're good to go. Let's go ahead and get into questions and answers for the day. Let me pop out this chat. It's going to be a little bit different than we normally do it because I'm not going to sit down, even though I really want to. I didn't figure out the slider yet. I have attachments for this camera. I just haven't figured it out. So we'll have to see what happens. But questions and answers are as follows. Super chats come first. Past super chats at Son of a Tech to tag me, and those will get answered directly after that. So let's see. Paul, we have a few industrial fans from Home Depot, but we can't install them. Zoning and all of that. Waz says, that's Son of a Tech, if you can't get the heat out of the room, you're going to soak and overheat. Yeah. Well, we ran all the way through the summer last year in a smaller place with no problems. No, we don't turn on AC in mining farms ever. David says, ask Son of a Tech, have you heard about Talos? What do you think about Talos? I heard about Talos. We already looked at it on the mining show. I don't like Talos. Why would I like Talos? Centralized trash. Dennis Matovich says, ask Son of a Tech, using pro hashing with an L3 plus, getting paid in Zcash and ETC, changing the payouts could make these units more profitable. Getting paid in Zcash? What? I don't know about. Why are you getting paid in Zcash and ETC? I don't use pro hashing for the L3 plus. I merge mine on Poolin. We've done a how-to on how to do that. So it's pretty much how that rolls. We have maybe 5 minutes for questions, so get them in. And then I'm going to get ready for, we have a meeting at 10. John Corey says, have you changed thermal pads on the hot cards? Of course, man. I have so many guides on so many different cards for doing it. Thermal pads aren't really going to help the core temp. I was specifically talking about the dual mining adding a lot of heat. What would need to happen essentially is just more CFM. Ethical GG says, at Son of a Tech, what do you think will happen to the price of Raven when ETH goes proof of stake? Double or triple? I don't really have any faith in Raven going anywhere, to be honest. I don't know. Feels like it tries to do a whole bunch of different things, but it doesn't do really one thing really, really well. And it's slow. I don't think that, like, If I look at Raven coin, I think of it as a slow burn coin that's just going to kind of slowly rise as the halvings happen and all of that. But that algorithm is also so tough on your GPU farms, man. Like, it's just like more worth it to like bump to an algorithm that's not going to burn your cards up. So like, I don't know. There's not a ton of incentive to move over to Kapow. Like, I would kind of dread it. Like, I don't want to deal with, like, the only times I've ever had, like, degradation on my GPUs was mining Raven coin. And then, like I said, I don't think it's going to be a big pump. I could be wrong, though. Like, I think Bits Be Trippin' would disagree with me on this. And maybe that would be something we could do. Let me know and then maybe you guys can also tweet at Bits too. One of the things that we could do is a Raven coin discussion between me and Bits, and then he can, you know, go through what he thinks, and then we can kind of have a discussion, because I think we'd be on like not opposite sides of the aisle. Like, I want Raven coin to do good. I think there's a misconception of like what I see objectively and then what people basically like to project onto me is what I like or dislike. I just objectively see issues, and I'm not necessarily certain that it would be the one that would pump. But it is what it is. Dan Sand says, "At Son of a Tech, what do you think of 2 miners ETH getting payout on BTC if it's worthy for 900 mega hash, or just go with Ethermine and just pay the gas?" On Ethermine, you can do Polygon Matic and avoid the gas, so that's a non-issue. You can also do that on Flexpool. 2 miners, you also have the Nano option, so you could do Bitcoin or Nano. 2 miners is great. You know, primarily you're going to want to look at alternate payout systems. So like Flexpool, Ethermine, whatever, right? Especially with 900 mega hash. And then you're going to want to basically take those pools and check your ping, see where you get the best ping to, choose that one and set up their alternate payment. The good news too is the Polygon is wrapped Ethereum. If you send that directly to an exchange that supports Matic, so crypto.com, for example, if you send it to crypto.com, it'll show up as regular ETH. Then you could literally just send that back out as ETH to like MetaMask, and then you're not paying the swap fees, which is how I've been handling it personally when I've gone through setting that up. Eric Simmons says, "At Son of a Tech, if I can unload a 3090s at over 20 mega hash, should I? I don't, $20 a mega hash? I mean, it's up to you, man. I'm not selling any GPUs." Booty says, "Ooh, at Son of a Tech, what is your most profitable GPU?" Well, the 3090s, right? But that doesn't mean they're the best. Techness Corner says, "Hey, Son of a Tech down under Melbourne says hello. What's up, my dude?" I'm going to look. I watched Bits Be Trippin' whole stream. I guess I'm going to say what my dude. That's just the way it is. Michael Scott says, "At Son of a Tech, what do you think is a good price for a 2080 Founders Edition?" I don't know. What is their ROI right now? I don't know. What is their mega hash? I mean, so like, I wouldn't pay over whatever, right? So if we calculated that out, 40 mega hash. So you just do 40 times 15. That's $600. Fair enough? 600. My final answer. My final answer. Ethical GG says, "Ask Son of a Tech, I currently have 4 helium miners and make $10 a day on each. Would highly recommend." I have 1 helium miner and it's making 7 cents a day. So I think it's really geographically restricted. But I may be moving mine to a different location to see what we can do. After I get the antenna outside, I did mount the antenna inside. We'll move it outside. Also, access to helium miners is pretty poor too. Very hard for people to get them. Paul says, "At Son of a Tech, do you think Satoshi is still around? They'd have a hard time not touching a very big Bitcoin wallet." Well, I mean, one of the things that sets apart Bitcoin is I don't think that Bitcoin was created to get rich. And you should understand that from the principles, etc., it really isn't about getting rich, which is what makes it extremely unique. There are people that are going to get rich off of Bitcoin, but the intention is not to make people rich. The intention is to stop the manipulation of the currency by governments and banks so that people can find financial independence and security as an individual. That is the point of Bitcoin. If you're looking at it to get rich, you're looking at it wrong, in my humble opinion. It's here to change the world. That's what it's here for. Nostati, thanks for the $5. Your neck is thick. You tie your neck to the barbell for squats? No. I train jujitsu, so I just kind of make sure I keep it all limber and golden, and then just do all the same old workouts I do. Front squats, back squats, deadlifts, bam, bam. Let's go. Big and dirty lifts. Detroit Iris says, "Best thermal pads in your opinion?" The cheapest thermal pads that will cool the graphics card down just enough to fully perform. That being said, Thermal Grizzly is technically, we'll get it the coolest, I guess. The thing I don't like about the Thermal Grizzly, though, just to be clear, in a farm setting, I like a little bit wetter pads, because the Thermal Grizzly does seem to, they work really good initially, and then they seem to dry up and fall apart and stop working faster. Billy says, "Ask Son of a Tech, hey bro, it's Billy. You tried to subscribe again, but it's not letting you." I'm sorry, dude. It won't let you hit the subscribe button? That's weird. The helium miner we have is the Gold Spot Special Edition, and then we have a custom like $250 antenna connected up to it now. I gots to go. I have another meeting here at 10 o'clock. Some changes may be happening to the channel, specifically with this show. I won't say too much in case it doesn't happen, but fingers crossed. That's what we're looking at. Don't worry. We still got all the how-tos and everything coming over here to YouTube, etc. I have lots of reviews to do, lots of stuff to do. I feel like I'm getting little pieces done every day. A little bit to everything done every day, but not everything. So it is what it is. Titan Nightmare, would you rather say I say moist? Thanks everybody for watching. Likes, comments, subscribes, all the things, same things that every YouTuber tells you to do. You don't have to do any of them, but I appreciate it a lot if you do. The best thing, what is that pizza? The most best? Little Caesars? Is that what it's called? Something like that? The most best, and you get the extra pepperoni and extra cheese on it. That's what I'm talking about. The most best thing you can do, the Little Caesars pizza for the channel, is sharing it out. I'll see you guys next Tuesday.